Good morning, people of YouTube. As everybody knows, momentum in the marketplace is shifting towards crossovers. Yet despite that, the A4 was one of our most popular videos last year. I'd say this probably because it's an appealing overall package. And now we're spending this freezing cold day with the mildly refreshed 2019 model, which Audi hopes is even more appealing. Of course, we do want to give a special thanks to our friends at Audi of Lexington for providing us with this fully loaded 2019 A4. And if you're in the market for any new Audi, be sure to stop by their dealership or visit them via their website, which we provided a link to in the video description. So with the new 3 Series just on the horizon, let's see if the A4 is still one of the class leaders. So starting out here with the exterior, there are more changes than what you might notice right off the bat. Basically, all the panels around the grille and headlights have been revised. The creases were smoothed out and the ridges are less defined now. We also now have a bold silver outline around the sensors. Now this look is only for the Quattro, since the front wheel drive model has a look that's closer to what the 18 looked like. The grille itself remains the same shape, but front wheel drive models get a gray finish instead of this chrome. And there does continue to be a black optic package available as well. Finally, the headlights are unaltered, still fully LED on Premium Plus and Prestige, but xenons on the base Premium. Around at the side, nothing has changed, but in the back, there have been some updates. For 2019, the circular exhaust pipes have been traded out for trapezoids, and they are still real exhaust, unlike what Audi's done with the rest of the lineup. Otherwise, nothing else has changed, so you still have a subtle lip spoiler and LED taillights with the signature dynamic turn signal. So all in all, the styling changes are more significant than what initially meets the eyes, and they do a lot to keep the A4 up to date with the latest A6 and A8. Now, in addition to those styling changes, the wheels were also redesigned. These 18-inch alloys have now replaced the previous contrast ones for Premium Plus and Prestige trims. And there are also 3 other options available for those of you who want a little more pizzazz. Finally, the base model's wheels have been changed to a different 17-inch alloy. Coming to the mirrors, they are heated, auto-dimming, and power folding on Premium Plus and Prestige, and those features can also be added to the Premium trim. Now moving on to all your safety features, they continue to be available in several tiers. On the base Premium, you have standard automatic emergency braking, and Premium Plus adds blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert. As far as all the rest, they're included on the Prestige trim, like your lane keeping assist, auto high beam headlights, and adaptive cruise control with stop and go. All of these features do contribute to the A4 being rated as a 2019 top safety pick by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. Finally, we'll end things on the outside with the 15.3 gallon fuel tank, which is good for 413 miles in the Quattro model and 459 miles with the front wheel drive model. Regardless of that, both models do ask for premium fuel. But anyways, that's it for all the exterior updates. So now let's see what Audi has done with the cabin. So on the refreshed A4, you continue to find Advanced Smart Entry standard on the Premium Plus and Prestige. You have this really nice key fob with piano black trim and real metal. Then to get inside the vehicle itself, all you have to do is reach behind the door handle, and then the door handle does pull up like that. So checking out the cabin of the 2019 A4, as you can see, there's been less changes than on the outside, and it still has a really premium look. So like all Audis, you've got a ton of different options for your colors and materials. So all of your models do come standard with real leather seating, and that's available in 4 different colors: black, brown, gray, or this beige. Additionally, you can choose what type of trim you want in the interior. Wood is now standard for no extra charge, so you've got 3 standard options, which are aluminum, dark walnut, or this open pore gray oak. Additionally, if you choose the black Optic package, all this will be subbed out for piano black trim. Now turning over here to the door trim, it continues to be very upscale. You will find a nice leatherette trim on the Prestige models on the armrest, as well as above it. And then all of this is soft touch with this really nice feeling open pore wood and a real aluminum door handle. On Premium Plus and Prestige, you will find 2-person memory seating, and all 4 of your windows are one-touch automatic. Now turning to your seat, it is 8-way power adjusting with 4-way lumbar support across the board. And then like I said, we do have standard real leather across all of the models. However, the seat itself can change if you get the Sport package. It adds a little bit more bolstering and a little bit different stitching design. So honestly, even though this interior is not new, it continues to make a really great impression. So all of your upper dash continues to be a soft touch plastic across the top. And then coming down here to the middle, you have this really nice open pore wood. Feels nice in the hand and looks great. And like I said, this is no extra charge this year. Then coming down to your lower areas, that wood continues through here. And then on the Prestige and Black Optic models, you will have a nice stitched leatherette material where your knee would touch. And everything else just fits together really nicely. Now, of course, you do have standard push-button start across the models. Once you push that, you will notice one of the 2019 changes, and that is that the 8.3-inch display is now standard on both the Premium Plus and Prestige instead of optional on the Premium Plus. The same can also be said about the virtual cockpit system as well. So now only your base premium model comes with the basic gauges. But this of course works the same way as it does in all other Audis. So you've got the gigantic Google Earth Maps, which is the big highlight. But you can also change the size of the gauges and scroll through traditional stuff like your radio, presets, phone, and whatnot. Additionally, if you opt for the Prestige, you're going to have a head-up display. Right now, all we've got up is the speed, but as you'll see in the test drive component, it also displays like the speed limit as it reads the signs, navigation instructions, different things with the safety system, so it's a very nice overall system. Now coming back to the steering, it is electric power assisted, and all models do come with a leather wrapped steering wheel. However, if you go for the Black Optic model, you get the flat bottom steering wheel with the perforated leather, and that's straight from the S4, so that's pretty cool. Of course, you got your standard affair buttons. These are for your virtual cockpit. And then you've got your buttons for your voice, commands, audio, as well as the heated steering wheel that comes in the cold weather package. Interestingly, rain sensing wipers are standard across the board. And then the steering wheel itself is manually tilt and telescoping. Right above that, you've got the stock for the adaptive cruise control here on the Prestige, since that comes standard with the driver's assistance features. Now moving on to interior storage, the A4 does a pretty decent job for a relatively small vehicle. So coming over here to your center console, you open this up, you've got a decently sized, if a little shallow, area. However, the news this year is that on Premium Plus and Prestige, you've now got this wireless phone charger. So all you gotta do is just set your phone right there on that pad, which is very large as well. Or you can continue to use your traditional USB port or aux jack. This armrest, like all Audis, it does adjust forward, as well as lock in various positions. Up in front of that, you've got another little shelf to stick your phone with another USB and 12-volt outlet. And I do also want to mention this giant compartment here is designed to fit your manual, but as you can see, where most cars have a just a tiny little coin tray or something, this is actually a pretty huge area That definitely frees up space in your glove box. But anyways, moving back here to the shifter, this is the same electronic one you see in most Audi products. You just pull back for drive, you can bump to the left to shift manually here, or the A4 does come standard with paddle shifters. When you go into reverse, you will find a backup camera and parking sensors standard across the board. However, only the Prestige will come with this 360-degree camera system. So as you can see, you got your traditional view, 360 view, and then you can use the controller knob to switch between different angles, like your corner, an expanded 360 view, front and rear views. And then for park, all you have to do is just press the little P. And we also do have an electronic parking brake. Alrighty, now let's go ahead and sample the standard 19-speaker, 755-watt Bang & Olufsen 3D sound system that comes in the Prestige, or is optional on Premium Plus. Sound quality of this system is excellent, as with most Bang & Olufsen systems. Alright, so moving on up here, we've got your MMI controller. This is the older style with the traditional knob with the writing on top, as well as your presets up there and shortcut buttons. And then moving on from that, you've got your drive mode select. This gives you access to 4 different drive modes, including individual, where you can go ahead and customize each of those 3 characteristics into automatic, comfort, or dynamic. This button here is where you turn off your auto start stop, traction control, parking sensors, and then this turns off the display. Now moving on up to the climate controls, this vehicle is interesting in the fact that it actually has 3-zone automatic climate control in a sedan, and that is standard across the board. So for your front 2 passenger and driver, all you have to do is just adjust this knob. Feels really nice and high quality. And then you can also go into that mode there and make an adjustment to the rear. As you can see, you've got these metal toggles. When you hold on them, it actually gives you like a little preview of what's going to happen, so it's a pretty cool system. Additionally, 3-stage heated seats are standard on all models. However, to get seat ventilation, you're going to have to go for the warm weather package. But anyways, that now brings us up here to our Audi MMI system, so let's go ahead and take a quick look. So this is your traditional MMI system. It's not quite the newest version, not the touch one, so you still have to use this knob and touchpad down here. It's not a touch screen. Heading into phone, you'll find all of your contacts. You also have text message support, and you can go into your directory here. Of course, we do have the Google Earth navigation, and it does give you the ability to write the address out with handwriting. Then you can click over, go to your map. Of course, so you can have this pulled up at the same time as you have it pulled up on your virtual cockpit. Now, last thing I'm going to talk about is just your Audi smartphone interface. This is where you can connect both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and they are standard even if you have the smaller 7-inch display with the base model. But anyways, that pretty much sums up a quick look at the MMI system, but we do have a really detailed tutorial if you want to learn more. A link to that additional video is in the description. Moving on up, you will find a frameless auto-dimming mirror and your 3 HomeLink universal remotes right up here. Another nice feature you'll find on every A4 is this moonroof. Surprisingly, it's actually standard across all of the trim levels, even the base model, and that's something that rivals usually make you pay extra for. But 3 years in on this A4's design, and I am still impressed by this cabin. It really just looks so modern in here. It feels modern with high-tech technology, beautiful design, great materials, plenty of space. It just really is a fantastic cabin that's aged really, really gracefully. But anyways, now I'll go ahead and hand it off to Mason, who will finish up the back part of the cabin. Now coming back to the rear seat of the 2019 A4, you're going to find a large amount of space just like you would last year. It comes in at 35 inches of rear legroom and 37 inches of rear headroom, which actually places it above main competitors like the BMW 3 Series and Mercedes C-Class. Now coming over to the door trim, it is really nicely appointed, and on the Prestige trim you do get this leather-wrapped armrest with double stitching, as well as a padded material above that, and a nicely grained soft-touch plastic on the top part. You do also have a nice door handle and some more of that beautiful wood trim. Now, of course, your window is fully automatic, and down below that you do have a little bit of door storage. Now, the seat itself is very soft, and you do even have a nice stitching detail through this as well. Now, in the center, Audi does give us plenty of luxury amenities. So you do have rear air vents across all the trims, and in addition to that, you do also have your own climate controls. So it is 3-zone automatic on all A4s, which is a really nice touch that a lot of the rivals do not have. Now in addition to that, we do also have 3-stage heated rear seats, which are included in the cold weather package. And down below that, we do have 2 smart charging USB ports, which is new for 2019, as well as a 12-volt power outlet. Now the armrest is a really nice large one, so it does fold down. You do have the leather wrapping up top, as well as a felt lined little storage area. And to pop out of the end, you do have some cup holders. Up top we do have some LED lighting, as well as a nice headliner, and an assist grip and coat hook. Now, like I said, the A4 is the biggest among its German rivals, so we do have plenty of legroom behind rear seating position. I probably have about 6 inches of rear legroom, thanks to Audi giving you nice neat cutouts, and my feet are happy up under the seat, plenty of room to slide around. Now over here with the seat scooted all the way back, I'm not even going to really try and get over there. It's pretty minimal on the space, but it is worth noting that the seat does slide back a really long ways. Overall, I'm extremely impressed by the 2019 A4's rear seat. It boasts about the biggest amount of space in the class, and you do also have plenty of luxury features and amenities to remind you that you are in a Audi. Now to fold the seats, just grab this little lever. They do fold 40-20-40 split, and they fold right down. Now heading around to the trunk, you do open it just by pushing the button under the lid, and it does have a really nice dampening that opens it all the way. Now in the trunk, you're going to find 13 cubic feet of space, which once again does make it larger than most of the rivals. It's also very nicely finished back here. We do have a little net to store some things, and your cargo hinges are covered to keep it from crushing your cargo. And down below the floor, we do also have a spare tire. And Audi was nice enough to include this little grocery bag hanger back here, which is a really nice touch. Now we will talk about the pricing here in a minute. The passenger seat is that same nice design, a lot of contrast stitching, and you do also have 8-way power adjustment on all A4s. Now in front of the passenger, we do have nice materials just like last year. So we do have a nicely padded dashboard, some more of that beautiful wood trim with Quattro branding. And down below that, we do have a really nicely sized glove box, and it's finished in a really nice felt lining. And you do have a CD and DVD player. Now up top, we do have a sun visor with LED lighting and a mirror. But anyway, guys, that pretty much sums up all I'm going to talk about for the rear areas of the A4. So now let's go ahead and get to the powertrain and do a test drive. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and talk about the powertrains. Now, as far as the actual engines, they haven't changed this year, but Audi's naming scheme has changed as with all their other products. So we continue to have two turbocharged 4-cylinder engines at different power ratings. So most people go with the TFSI 45 is what it's called this year, and it's the more powerful option and paired with Quattro only. It makes 248 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. Now the model that was previously known as Ultra, that is now known as TFSI 40, and it's the one that is for ultra good fuel economy. It only has 188 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired with the front-wheel drive only. Now both engines are available on all three of the trims, and if you're wondering what the performance difference is, the 0 to 60 is 5.6 seconds in this model with Quattro and the more powerful engine, and that goes to 7.1 with the front-wheel drive and less powerful engine. Both models do come with a dual-clutch automatic transmission, 7 speeds. But the manual transmission has been dropped this year. So this was the last Audi that actually had a manual transmission, so at this point there are no Audis available in the US with the manual. Finally, for fuel economy, the two engines have become closer to each other in their ratings, and they now have the same highway rating. So with your 40, you're going to have 27 city, 34 highway, 30 combined. And with your 45, you're going to have 23 city, 34 highway, 27 combined. But anyways, that covers the changes to that. So let's go ahead and take it on a test drive. So setting off in the 2019 A4, you know, the engine is unchanged from last year, and this is a really good engine. The power, it feels excellent right off the line. Of course, Audi and Volkswagen are known for their 2-liter turbo 4s, and this one is an excellent one as well. Yeah, this engine, it may only be a 4-cylinder, but it definitely has a peppiness to it that is pretty uncommon in a 4-cylinder, and it sounds pretty good as well. Of course, this being a sports sedan, it does you know, have a nice agile feel. Steering is very responsive, weights up nicely. I'm not sure what drive mode we're in. I guess we're just in the normal comfort mode. We'll try out the dynamic a little later, but steering feel is still good, even in your regular mode. Now, like I mentioned, this does have the 7-speed DCT. You know, that's different from a lot of rivals, which usually go with like more traditional, like 8-speed automatic or something like that. But this is a very good DCT. As we've mentioned in previous Audi's reviews, this transmission doesn't have any of that old-fashioned lag and stuff like that DCTs used to have. We do also have the traffic sign recognition system on the Prestige here, and since we've got the head-up display, it just nicely displays our speed limit right above the speed that I'm actually going. That's really handy, especially if you're traveling in a place you're unfamiliar with, to have the ability to read the signs. As we mentioned, it's not just GPS linked, it actually reads the signs. So if you go into a construction zone, for instance, and it says reduce speed limit, that's the speed limit that's going to show up, not just 70 or whatever that
very,
the normal
very
speed
handy.
limit is.
Yeah.
So that's, when traveling, that could save you from getting a speeding ticket for sure. So I just changed into the dynamic mode, so we'll go ahead and test out some of these changes. So it actually makes a really noticeable difference, especially in the throttle mapping. It's a lot more sensitive. I definitely noticed that the transmission is more anxious to go and shift.
Yeah, we've actually driven the A4 extensively on a test drive back in like May of last year, and I didn't really know what to expect coming into it because we had never driven an Audi, but the 2-liter 4-cylinder is a really, really impressive engine, and I really don't think that you're going to be disappointed with it, because it may be a small engine and the power ratings might not be the biggest, but definitely has a peppy feel to it, even sounds pretty good, and overall it's just a really, really impressive engine. And I do want to take a moment to point out, I know Drew briefly mentioned it earlier, but the A4, it may be a sports sedan, but really it's not sacrificing its ride quality or anything to get that sporty feel. I mean, the A4 it's going to ride like a dream on the highway or just cruising around town. It rides very comfortably. There's not very much noise inside the cabin. The seats are comfortable. And it's just a really quiet car, and I think you're going to be pleased with it if you want to sport around town or if you just want to casually drive around.
And that's another big benefit of your DCT, is that manual mode is true manual mode. You have full control over it, and it is so fast, instantaneous. So there, a lot of cars don't give you that full control, or they have very hesitant transmissions when it's in manual mode, and this doesn't have any of those problems.
And even when you kind of like downshifted, it had like almost have a rev matching almost feature, and that was that's
a throttle blip.
Yeah, that's very interesting in a car like this.
Alright, so our auto start stop system just triggered just now, so we'll go ahead and see how quickly it restarts. Alright, did a very good job.
As with all Audis, really. I know we've mentioned this before, but really if you had the music on, or just had the climate on, really, you wouldn't even notice, because you can't really feel it in the cabin, and it's also not an abrupt shaking or anything like that. So this is a really good auto start stop system, and you can also deactivate it if you want to by pushing this button right here in the center.
But overall, for 2019, the A4 continues to be a really good package. It's just not something that leaves you wanting.
Nope.
No matter what your priorities are, this has got something to satisfy every one of those things.
Well guys, we've enjoyed watching the first in-depth look at the 2019 Audi A4 Prestige. Stay watching for a quick overview of the pricing, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons below. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.
Mm-hmm.